Pleased to be joined today by NBA All-Star Dale Ellis, MLB All-Star Brian Jordan, and Chris Amerson, the creator of the new show, the new project that Dale and Brian are working on together. How y'all doing, guys?
Doing great. Can't complain.
Amazing. Well, the show is My Cave, My Rules, and there are a lot of moving pieces here. Tell me, guys, how did this come to be? Chris, let us in on the details, how the show works, and how did Dale and Brian, how did you guys get to working together?
So the show is all about picture a sports talk show blended with elements of QVC and Antique Roadshow. Former pro athletes and current pro athletes, they stop by our man cave set in Atlanta, Georgia, hang out, play cave games like foosball, like air hockey, pool, throw darts. At the same time, while we conduct these great interviews, with the technology that we have embedded in to the video, the company we work with called AI Buy, viewers have a chance to purchase merchandise, limited edition signed items that they know are real because the guests are sitting right there signing them, and also one-of-a-kind memorabilia. It gives the audience a chance to actually interact and participate with some of their favorite athletes. Been working with Dale with our chapter of the National Basketball Retired Players Association. He's the president. He was kind enough to bring me on as COO. And so learning more about athletes after they finish playing, the former athletes, kind of put together the world, kind of all of our worlds together. My world is in film and television. Their world is in athletics. And we just saw a perfect opportunity to blend entertainment, technology, and sports together. Brian had a great career after playing as a broadcaster. So it was almost a no-brainer for him to come on and be our main host, using his great skills that he has with interacting with players and interacting with other people. So we're all executive producers on the show, kind of bringing all of our experiences together to make something great.
There is nothing better than athletes telling stories, except for when athletes are telling stories to other athletes. So that's what's so perfect about this concept to me. And you add in the memorabilia element. It's very interesting and unique. Brian, you are the main host. How did you first get involved? When did you meet Dale?
Well, I've known Dale for a while. I was a big fan of his when he played basketball. But we play in a lot of golf celebrity tournaments together. And, one thing I know about Dale, he's very humble. He's very good at golf. And he was a great three-point shooter, one of the first, great ones out there. And just to expound on what Chris was saying, it's a comfortable environment. And I think that's the fun part about it. I'm still mad at Dale Ellis because I did an interview with Dale and we played darts and he beat me in darts, which I'm still mad at. But that's the environment that we're trying to create, that comfortable, fun environment where our guests can relax and have fun. And every fan wants to hear the real story in a fun way. They don't like the seriousness and, so this is another element that we bring to the table. And along with the interview, it's fun, but the memorabilia is special, because fans get to see us signing while we're interviewing, signing basketballs, signing baseballs. Every guest that we have on has signed something special to sell. And every fan out there that loves memorabilia will be listening to the show. And we make up our own stuff, man. It's our cave, our rules. So we're going to talk about everything and anything.
Dale, are you willing to rematch Brian in darts, or you're just going to hold that one over him for a while? Like, you got the win. You don't need to try again.
I don't know if I want to play him again. See, I want a jersey, but I haven't gotten my jersey yet. But yeah, it's a fun show, and it's very competitive. We're still athletes, to the end. So we're competitive. I met Brian years ago. Brian runs a foundation working with kids. supporting kids. And I've been working with the Retired Players Association, the chapter here in Atlanta for almost 10 years now. So I attend about 15, 20 charity events a year. And we're connected with a ton of athletes around the country. You have a host of athletes living right through the Atlanta area. So we support one another. You know, it's about giving back to the community. And what we're doing with Chris is providing an opportunity, like he said, was creating an opportunity for the guys to stay relevant. You know, they come in and talk about their lives, their careers, what they're getting ready to get into now, and create an opportunity for them to make money at the same time.
Chris, there's obviously a wealth of athletes to work with here. Which guests have you worked with so far? You know, what guests can we expect from the show?
Yeah, so we've been really fortunate enough to have Mr. Ray Allen on, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, Marquise Grissom. Who else have we had on? We had Nick Van Exel. So far in this beta period, have we just kind of softly been entering into the market.
Amazing. Brian, Dale, do you have any dream guests for the show? Do you have any people you're eyeing who you're like, man, I would love to get them in the cave. I'd love to get some of their memorabilia for my personal collection and also sell some.
Well, I collect a lot of items, so I still got some guys out there I want to get, you know, and hopefully we'll get like Andrew Jones, Hall of Famers, well, should be in the National Hall of Fame, but in the Braves Hall of Fame, Chipper Jones, Smoltz, and those guys. Hopefully I can get those guys on the show, have fun. And, you know, because I played with them. I know the pranksters that they are. So, you know, I want the fans to know the inside story about some of our stories back in the day when we played together with the Braves. And also, you know, Ozzie Smith and those guys that I played with, mentors. So, yeah, we got a lot of memorabilia to collect.
Yeah, Brian, I know you played with Coach Prime once upon a time. I can't help but note that, like, I would love to hear, you know, I can't imagine what he would do if you let him loose in a cave. What's it even been like watching? What's it been like watching his rise this season? You know, as another, you know, topic of conversation.
You know what? It's fun. It's fun watching his growth. He was my favorite teammate with the Falcons. I mean, he made everybody around him better. And that's what I love about him. And watching him at the college level, you know, just do so many great things so early in his career in Buffalo is just amazing to me. And I love when people count him out, you know, because he's always going to prove them wrong and rise to the occasion. So it's just fun watching him, you know, getting some humble pie along the way. But, you know, his confidence is strong. And I know what he's going to do. Not just this year with Colorado, but next year when that portal hits, boy, he's gonna get some big boys on that offense and defensive line. So it's gonna be fun watching his college coaching career, and I expect him to be one of the great ones at the end of the day.
Yeah, I put myself in the portal. I don't think he wants me, but like I just want the opportunity. I play for him. Dale, what about you? Any like dream guests that you're eyeing for the next couple episodes?
No, well, the player you just mentioned, you know, Deion, unbelievable. I was flipping through the channels a couple weeks ago and saw some clips on Deion. I was amazed. I had no idea of some of the stuff that he was able to accomplish throughout his career. Unbelievable. Now, I mean, athlete, baseball, football, he could do it all.
And he was a rapper. Don't forget he's a rapper, too.
He hosted Saturday Night Live. He was the host and musical guest on SNL, man.
That's right.
Must be the money. Remember that song? Must be the money.
Yeah. I just saw the clip. That they should show that clip every single week at halftime of whoever Colorado.
Yes.
No, I would love to meet him. I would love to be in the studio with him, just sit down and talk with him. But I think you can't count this guy out. He's always going to be on top of this.
Well, that's what's so beautiful about this show, the ability to meet athletes that you guys are intimately familiar with, or that you get, you know, you just want to meet and get in a room and share their stories. Inspired by that, I've got some rapid fire storytelling questions for you both, sort of based on the show you're doing. Would love to get your, you know, both Dale and Brian's answers on a couple of these. And then before we sign off, I'll ask Chris for any final thoughts and things you guys want to share on the show moving forward. But are you guys down to do a little rapid fire storytelling?
All right, let's go. See what happens.
All right. Well, this is for both Brian and Dale. What's the best piece of memorabilia you own from either your playing days, like stuff that you wore, or just players that you admire?
Well, I'll start. I mean, Hank Aaron signed memorabilia. I have a lot of it. And Hank was a special friend of mine. That's why I came to Atlanta to play for the Braves, so I could meet Hank Aaron. And to hold on to some of his memorabilia is really special. So I got to say, Hank.
What about you, Dale?
There's so many great athletes out there. Muhammad Ali is my favorite athlete of all time, But I played in the era with Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, a great era of basketball. I believe the best era in basketball. So Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was my favorite ball player. On the playgrounds, I'd throw hook shots. But I wasn't very good at it. but I pretend to be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But Ali, I have his signature, and Brian mentioned Hank Aaron. I had an opportunity to meet Hank Aaron through my relationship with Brian and Marquise Grissom, and that just blew me away. As a kid, I grew up watching Hank Aaron play and chasing that home run record. I actually have his signature on the ball as well.
Amazing. Brian, I got to say, a piece of memorabilia I want in my collection, one of the white whales I'm chasing, is something of yours. I love, when you were on the All-Star team in 1999, this is such a hat nerd thing, but they used to give you guys hats with the player's signature on the side.
Yeah.
That you wore in the game. So I'm always looking for those. Whenever one pops up, I try to collect them because they stopped doing it so long ago. Yours popped up on eBay once, and I was like, oh, I need to get this. And by the time I logged on, somebody else stole it from me. So I guess what I'm asking is, if you got any leads, please let me know.
I sure will.
What was that game like for you? You played in maybe one of the most memorable MLB All-Star games of all time. You got Ted Williams on the field before the game, Tony Gwynn and McGuire with him. I mean, what's that weekend like for you? Did you spend any time with Ted that weekend?
It was very special, and it's amazing. I was just speaking yesterday at the Touchdown Club, and a guy asked me that question about being in Boston in that All-Star game. And I said it was very, very special. I don't think there's another All-Star game that can top that one, to be able to see Ted Williams come out on the golf cart after all the great players were announced on the middle of the field. Honestly, we didn't even want to play the All-Star game after meeting those guys and wanting to talk to them and just be a sponge, to their knowledge. Was a lot of fun. But to see Ted Williams, get to shake his hand, that was special because you heard so many great things about him and you watched him as a player. It was a special moment to meet all the greats, man. And like I said, I'll never forget that All-Star game. And I still have a lot of memorabilia from that All-Star game.
All right, great. We'll talk offline. That's amazing. I'll go with this question first to Dale. You guys, once upon a time, before you were All-Stars, were just rookies coming into the league. You mentioned Kareem was your hero. You're playing against your heroes. What's the first time as a pro, Dale, that you remember you kind of looked at someone on the other team and you were kind of just, a little starstruck, a little blown away, like I'm in the same game?
Let me say this. I was drafted into the NBA. I was the 9th pick in the draft overall. We had gone through some practice sessions and we were playing exhibition games, and we had played a few NBA ball games. And the Lakers came to town. I was with the Dallas Mavericks. Most people don't know I started with Dallas. They recognize me as a Sonic. But it wasn't until the Lakers came to Dallas and I stood next to Kareem that I realized that I'm here. I'm actually realized my dream. I'm playing NBA basketball. Well, being on the floor with some of those guys just blows you away. The hardest team to play against was the Lakers in LA because I'm a movie buff. So right next to our bench was Jack Nicklaus. You got to walk past him. You got to perform. So it was starstruck a little bit, but you got to find a way to work through that and concentrate on playing basketball.
Yeah, that's real star power. He's got the shades, yelling at the ref. Brian, what about you? I mean, in either the NFL or MLB, what's the first time you looked at a guy on the other sidelines and you're like, I made it. I can't believe I'm playing against this guy.
Well, for me, getting drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals first round and getting a chance to walk on the field after getting drafted and stand next to Ozzie Smith, the Wizard, after watching him do flips, on TV every year and to be there actually next to him, that's when I said I have arrived. To be next to greatness like that, and on a football field, I was drafted by Buffalo Bills, so you remember those great days of Jim Kelly and Bruce Smith and Cornelius Bennett and all those great defensives they had. Just to go out there and play with those guys and know that you're just as good, if not better. That was it for you, and your dreams have arrived. That's what you dreamed about as a kid. And, finally you're playing next to the greats.
What about this, Dale? Who was the funniest teammate you ever had during your time in the NBA?
So Dale Threet. I actually played against Adele in high school here. They came out of Thurl High School. So Dale walked by our bench once and said to our coach, do you have anybody on that bench that can guard me? And I never heard a player talk to a coach that way. And then he ended up being my teammate in Seattle, but he kept me laughing. He made the game fun because it becomes a job at some point, It's no longer just that childhood dream. You have to come and get it done every single night. So how do you do that? So what I tried to do was escape from the game as much as possible. I wouldn't watch basketball. I'd watch movies. I got out of the game, but he kept me laughing. I could tell you some stories that'll blow your mind. Turning the Hooch. Do you know the movie Turning the Hooch?
Yeah, Tom Hanks' dog.
Yeah. Okay, yes. So we're gamble. We gamble a lot. Players do. We get together. I don't know about Brian and what he did with the team played with, but that was downtime for us. So we were on the bus. We gamble, shooting craps, and playing cards. And the hotel, same deal. We gamble. And so Dale would always team up with me because I was actually pretty good with shooting a basketball and shooting craps. So he teamed up with me. So he teamed up against Gary Payton and Xavier McDaniels. And the funniest thing he's ever said, he said, we are Tango and Cash. He said, I'm Cash. No, he said, Dale's Cash, I'm Tango. Y'all turn it in Hooch. So I said, which one of them is Hooch? Which one? It's the funniest thing. Once you get the game going, you're winning money. He had the knack to get up underneath their skin to keep them wanting to win and keep them at a disadvantage. So,
and you guys just kept taking his money, huh?
See, that's why again, my cave, my rules. You bring in the athletes, you get to tell stories like that. Like Brian, what about you? Who's the guy who stands out? You're just like, that's the funniest guy I ever played with.
Wow. I mean, I had a lot of guys, man. Deion Sanders was a funny guy, man. Every practice, we'd dying laughing before practice, after practice. He was just a straight comedian. And then on the baseball side, believe it or not, John Smoltz and Greg Maddux were probably the funniest guys ever. Always playing pranks. And, we're playing against Greg Maddux. You look at him with those glasses and looking nerdy birdie. But when we were teammates, it was like, man, this guy's a comedian and most perverted guy ever out there, man. This had us cracking up all the time, man. So
you played with at least two guys who've been on SNL. I mean, Deion was on the show, and then Mark Wohlers was on SNL too. So. Oh,
really, Mark Wohlers? Oh man, yeah, another quiet guy.
That's amazing. Well, you guys both played in so many iconic sports cities. Dale, what's the favorite sports city that you've ever called home?
Seattle. I played in Dallas, Seattle, San Antonio, Denver, Milwaukee. But I kept home in Seattle. I'd go back in the summers. You couldn't beat Seattle. It rained a lot. People complain about that, but you do so much traveling, so it doesn't really matter. You can be in Seattle one day and it's raining in LA the next day. I put a metal roof on the house just to hear the rain come down. I wanted to hear it. Didn't rain hard enough for me. But yeah, I love Seattle.
That's how you know it's home. There's people talk these days about basketball returning to Seattle. I mean, how would you feel about that? Do you think they need a team back in Seattle?
Yes, hopefully by the end of the year, they'll make an announcement. They're going to bring in 2 new franchises, one in Seattle and one in Las Vegas. Hopefully that's going to take place. They have a new hockey team there, the Kraken. I've had an opportunity to meet the owners. The owners of the Kraken are actually going to be the principal on the Sonics when they come back. So I was just recently in Seattle, and this campaign to bring the Sonics back, so I'm supporting them. We have a lot of former Sonic players that come into Seattle, back to Seattle just to support, bring the Sonics back. Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, a host of guys, Nate McMillan, George Karl, ton of guys come back. The city deserves another team, so we're actually looking forward to it.
I totally agree. I can't wait. Brian, what about you? I mean, St. Louis, Atlanta, a lot of great memories. You know, what's your favorite sports city you've ever called home?
I would say St. Louis. I mean, I just enjoyed the environment there. You know, baseball was it for St. Louis fans, and everywhere you go, they just appreciate you there. So I have to say St. Louis, no doubt about it.
Amazing. Well, one more question.
You still owe me that St. Louis jersey, correct? The game of cards.
I thought you let me off the hook, man. Hey, I got it for you, though. I got it for you, no question.
I believe. I mean, I'm excited. You know, you mentioned all the great memorabilia, all the great parts of this show. I'm just excited for the little mini games, the competition. Like, I want to see you guys get after it. Like, who's the most competitive athlete that you guys have ever played with? Dale, I'll go first. Just like in little locker room competitions like that. It could be Sadale.
Well, I play golf with Melvin Pender. Melvin is Olympic gold medalist, 68 years old. His birthday was yesterday. So was Chris. Happy birthday, Chris.
Oh,
yesterday.
Yeah.
But I can't believe
Flip it around, Dale.
Huh?
Flip it around, Dale. He's 86 years old.
86.
Yeah. So they get a full picture.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I played golf with him Monday, and he kept saying, I'm 68. He had it flipped around. Now I'm saying he's 68. 86 years old. He won the gold medal back in 1968. But he's competitive. It's amazing. You don't ever lose that. You don't. We go out. We want to win. But I enjoy just being around the guys, you know?
So it was John Smoltz by far. I mean, this guy was the most competitive guy ever. And we used to play basketball in the off season all the time. I would bring my 5. He would bring his 5. And he's so competitive, man. He's bringing former NBA players with him just to win, you know. And I'm bringing in great athletes like Delano DeShields, who played basketball, and Andre Rison. I mean, we had some competitive games every off season. But even on the baseball field, man, you wouldn't get another, to me, a better competitor than Smoltz. When he's closing, when he's starting, he would just give it his all. And, I love him. I love him. I love playing behind him because he brings it every day.
That is amazing. And again, that's what we love. And that's why I'm so excited about this show and its next steps. Chris, Dale, Brian, thanks everybody. Chris, anything else that fans need to know about the show? You know, what's next? I know at some point you mentioned like live shows maybe in the future. Like, what else do fans need to know about My Cave, My Rules?
Definitely. We have new episodes every Wednesday, pop up live at 8 p.m. And then it goes across other platforms for on demand the next morning. We also have this sports bar tour that we're doing. Some of those episodes coming up we'll be coming to your town and taping the show in front of a live audience, and I'll be able to have that and feel that fandom right in person. I know Brian really loves that, and being able to work and interact with the fans. So look forward to that. Check us out. Go to My Cave, My Rules, see more.
Amazing. Well, thanks everybody. Hopefully see you on one of those, the sports bar tour. If you don't come to New York, I'll come find you because that sounds awesome. Dale Ellis, Brian, Jordan, Chris, Amerson, thank you so much for joining me. And I can't wait to see what's next.